I realize that I can't leave the subject of being an artist. Being that I'm so redundant and being that the subject is so deep and wide, I just can't leave. So I'm back here again talking about it. One of the things that I think about a lot is I don't have much of the art that I've created in my lifetime existent. I gave it away. I am an open source being, so I gave it away. I gave all my symphonies, my quartets, my operas, my cantatas, my solos, my everything. Almost every day I gave it away in the midst of what I called a performance. So in essence, what I've done has disappeared. Is that good or is that bad? Or is it the way it is? If I assume a neutral attitude towards it, it's the way it is. It is the way it is. Is it bad? Some people would say, well, we don't have your symphonies, we don't have your quartets, we don't have your operas, so you haven't done anything. Some people would say it's good. You haven't left any material garbage on the world. Nothing that people have to collect and put in a museum or something, so that's just free of all of that material aggregation, I guess. Amassment. I guess so. I think more that was the way it is, and now I have no pieces of music to show anybody, to receive any accolades, and for somebody to say, wow, you're a great composer. And is that important? Is it important for people to recognize me as a great composer? Is it important for me to be recognized over those who are teaching composition in all the universities in the United States and Europe and other places? I don't know. I think it's the process. I've been very prolific. I've created many, many pieces of music, many, many melodies. Some of them are recorded. Very few of them, but some are. And what happens to them, I will not know, and I actually don't care. I think, in terms of the artist, that one of the pitfalls that an artist experiences is that they want to have an amassment of work. They want to have all of these pieces of music. They want to have all these pieces of art, these canvases, these papers. They want to have all these videos of them dancing. They want to have all these books written and published. But my contention is art is the process, and it has nothing to do with the material creation. The material creation has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with me. Everything that has to do with me is that process of creation of it. If it gets burnt, which Kafka wanted to do, and I don't stand against that. I don't say don't burn your work. But most importantly is to get that full and extraordinary experience when one creates. That is what's so beautiful. It is exactly the manifestation of let there be light. One of the great passages of a moment of creation. A beautiful passage. I don't speak of the book itself. The book itself is a big problem for me, but those words are beautiful. Let there be light. And that's what it is. Let there be light. When you create, when I create, when we create, when we as artists create, let there be light, because that is the soul, that is the heart in full bliss, expressing itself in its I am, expressing itself and yearning to manifest itself in its Christ self-perfection. In doing so, that is the true work. The work is not the publication of the book. It is not the show. It is not the canvases or the pieces of paper. It is not the pieces of music and the manuscripts of music. It is that process. It is full of divineness. It is because of that understanding that I went to the angel tunnel. And I named what I do a performance, because I took that process seriously. And I presented the process to the public, as I am doing now with these videos. I am presenting my process to the public. YouTube is a public, so far, is a public outlet. When I was out in public at the Angel Tunnel, I was presenting my music to the public. The process itself. I am in process right now, process of speaking, process of feeling, process of creation, and a process of reiteration. I love the process. Once the process is over, there is doubt. Because what is it now? It's over. Some people take that, as I have been redundant about it, they take that process and they make it all into that manuscript. The manuscript then is the work of art, and thus they then advertise and sell and push it upon others. That, to me, is the path of vagueness. It's hard to know what that is. It's hard to know what the intent of that is. Is it ego? Is it need for fame? Is it need for recognition? Is it need for respect? What is it? If one just is, isn't that enough? Because in the process is everything. The process is the art. Life is a process. Life can be a process of art if one focuses and is present for that process. And the intent is pure and full of heart. That is where the blessing is. That is where the divineness is. That is where all one practices to be. One learns in order to be in that process. In the Angel Tunnel, in those first years when I first got there, it was the most blissful time of my career. I can look back and I can hold on to it and I can just regret not having that time anymore, but I cannot. It is so, I am so grateful to have had those, and I think it was only 2.5 years. During that time, an Academy Award-winning film was created about me, and in a sense, documented that time. When it was being made, I didn't really care much about it. I didn't pay attention to it. When it was released, I didn't pay attention to it. When it won the Academy Award, I didn't really pay attention to it. When I danced on the red carpet and the police tried to throw me out of the Academy Awards, I didn't really pay attention to it. What was happening was there was process in it all. I was in the process. And the process was what is happening then. The process was being at the Angel Tunnel. Once that process was over, once I no longer had the foot drums, once I no longer had that space, once the pigeons were no longer pooping over my head, no longer was the space a humble space, but it was turned into a splashy strange, less acoustic, less resonant space. It was only time before I was ousted, and I was ousted from it. I was pushed out from it. I was pushed out by all the various beings who wanted material wealth. They came there for material wealth. They didn't come for the process of being in the resonance of the space and the divineness of the Freemasons' construction, where all things coalesced into that moment for me. They were there to make money. They were there to say, look how good I am. Do I say that? That is my question always. Do I say, look how good I am. Look what I can do. At times those thoughts will flitter through my mind, but I counteract them by knowing them to be thoughts. They are as problematic as the same as another thought that says, I am nothing, I am trash, I am garbage. They're both the opposite sides of the Tao. It's necessary to let them go. Both of them, to hold a neutral position between them and to just be in the process. I don't know if what I do is great. I don't know if what I have done is great. I don't know. I also don't know if it's terrible. Is it terrible or great? I just do it. Therefore, I never get caught up in the materialism of it. It never is something that I hold on to. I can let go of everything. I can let go of everything. It's in death that this truth becomes so clear. One can only die well if one can let go of everything easily. Let go of it and be grateful for one's life. That is the only thing that one can live truly for. The process of living is the blessing. It is what one is grateful for. It is not for the acquirement of material anything. Nothing, because nothing that we have gained materially will survive us in this life. Once the life is over, it dissolves and goes away, period. There is no continuance of that. The continuance in it is in a completely different mode, and it is not something that I can put my finger on. I try sometimes. I try to look into that. I try to look into that future of my death. But that is a silly occupation. Because at that time, I no longer am in the process of living. So, I do think that everything I did and do, and my whole process, is not for these times. Because these times are for my process. They're for other times, and those times I have nothing to do with.